Hey, friends. Welcome to the Self-Love Strong podcast. Today, we have a truly special guest today, someone who's redefining self-love from the inside out. Kemina is a transformational leader, energy alchemist, and creator of Bodyflow Energetics and SoulFlow Self-Mastery Training Ground. With over a decade of experience helping thousands break free from their old patterns, she teaches Self-Love 2.0, a next-level approach to self-love that's about allowing love from source and not chasing it. Her work bridges deep energetic mastery with real world transformation. And today, she's here to share her journey, insights, and how true self love is about expansion, not just acceptance. Kamina, welcome to the show. I'm excited you're here.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really excited to be here too.
Oh man, I'm really excited with all the knowledge that you have, Kamina. Can you share a pivotal moment in your life that led you to develop SoulFlow and Bodyflow?
Well, to be honest, it wasn't any one moment. I've had lots of moments that have guided me on my path, but I would say probably the biggest defining moment would be, I was in a place of deep depression and I was working in the corporate world in advertising, and it was ruthless, full of egos and, you know, really ridiculous deadlines and everyone pressuring you to do more for less money and less time and all of the things that go along with that. And on top of that, I'd had, lots of deep traumatic things that go on in my life, and I was wearing it physically and emotionally. And I was exhausted, and I was running on, fumes. And my housemate said to me one day, "Oh, you've got to go to the Mind, Body, Spirit Festival." And I went, "Oh, okay, yeah." And so that's this festival, with all of the like crystals and energetic workers and all the things, right? And anyway, the next day she goes to me, "Did you go to the Mind, Body, Spirit Festival?" And I went, "No, I didn't." She said, "You've got to go." And I went, okay, I'll go. Anyway, so I went and I saw this little kinesiology stand there, and I had this thought. I went, "Oh, I've always wanted to try that." And then I went, "Wait a second, I've never heard of it." And that just was so strange to me. I'm like, that's the weirdest thoughts I've ever had. And I went, "I've got to go and try this thing." And so I went and tried it, and it was this little 20-minute session, and it blew my mind. I'd been trying lots of things to help me. I'd been to an acupuncture, all the things, and nothing was really getting to where I needed. Nothing was really clicking and helping me feel better. And I tried this and I was like, wow, that was amazing. So it was a kinesiology school. So the next thing I knew, I was signing up for this school, and a month later I was learning kinesiology. And so that kind of got me on my path. It was the beginnings. It was this 2-year course that was great. It was a good foundational course, and I was like, went out and I was practicing it on people. But then I kind of discovered that, what this is doing is peeling off one layer at a time. And I was like, I've got a lot of layers, right? I think everyone's got a lot of layers. If I'm going to be peeling off one layer at a time, I'm going to be here forever. I don't have centuries and centuries to peel off one layer at a time as I go. So I just went, okay, there's got to be a faster and more effective way of doing this. And that's the second part of my journey that, so it's been little moments of, here, go and try this. And then it's like, oh, no, wait a second. This is great. It's getting me on my path. But then I had more questions and I wanted to dive deeper. So that's kind of been the path I've been on. It's just been gradually taking me to where I am now. Yeah.
Man, that's a powerful journey. I love how it's a learning journey. It's not like that, like you said, it's not, but it was a series of events that really unfolded you you to realizing that. And I love how you said, like, we all have those different layers, and we're looking, like you said, you found yourself peeling off one layer at a time, and you realize, like, wow, there has to be a better way. The heart behind it, like, there has to be a better way. Many of us in our same situation, we find ourselves like we're not fully satisfied where we are. But I love how you realize, like, hey, there has to be a better way, which is so powerful.
There has to be. We're not meant to sit in suffering, there is a way to step into having a life that we love. It's just, how do you do that? How can there not be? It just doesn't make sense to me that there's not. And, so there is liberation, there is a freedom. And I just was on such a mission to find out what that was, because I wasn't going to settle for, a life half lived. I wasn't going to settle for not having my heart fully open and embracing life and love. It just wasn't an option for me. And I think, most people feel that way. But it's like, but how do you do that? And that's kind of been my journey of finding that deep wisdom. So I've kind of searched through, all the wisdom of the ages from the ancients. And, now I use ancient Egyptian methods, because those ancients, they knew a thing or two, right? And, right. And so I've, incorporated that and, used it with cutting edge techniques from today, and practiced it on thousands of clients all over the world to see what really does work. And in my relentless, searching for what really works and gets me there the quickest, how do I get to the core and recalibrate that foundation? So my entire frequency adjusts, that's been my goal. And that's what I help people with, because I know what it's like to suffer. And, so I just was like, my goal was to help people stop chasing alignment and to become
it. Wow, that is so powerful what you said there. Stop chasing alignment, but become aligned. Wow, that's just a powerful statement in itself. Like, but how did those early life experiences shape your understanding of energy and transformation?
Well, yeah, I guess my probably earliest moment of interacting with energy and transformation was I was a little girl, probably about 7 or 8, and I'm in the bathtub, and I looked up, and on the ceiling I saw a spider. And I looked at this spider, and I had this thought. I have these random thoughts every so often. I think we all do. But, sometimes you pay attention to them. And I had this random thought that I think I can make that spider fall with my mind. And the second I had that thought, the spider fell. And I was like, whoa, what just happened? Did I really do that? And that kind of set me on my path of finding out how I actually did that. And what was really interesting was, moments in my life as I was going through my life, just suddenly that spider would pop into my mind, and it would be like this little guide that was showing me, hey, this is going to help you work out how you did this thing. So it was, this little spider was my guide throughout my life to shine a light on, hey, you need to know this, or hey, pay attention to this thing. It's kind of cute.
Wow. Yeah, that is. I gotta be honest. When you said this spider fell, I was gonna be like, ah! He like screaming, water going. I did not think this story. That's a powerful story. I'm like, thinking you just jumped out of the tub. That's an awesome story. That how powerful our minds are in that situation. And I love how you anchor that opportunity to be something that you can build from. You're like, you know what? And it started that early, which is so cool. To hear that story, but. Like you said, our minds are so powerful, and we're, as neuroscience is, technology is getting better. We're just tapping the the beginning, but I love something you said there. You're talking about the ancient, like you're talking about ancient Egyptian technology and just some of their ancient practices. And I really think that's so exciting because I feel like there's a lot of that past we still don't know about. And we're here for before us in a reason. So why not go to the place where things were possibly working before that we haven't even tapped into, which is so awesome.
Well, if you look at the new discoveries going on in under the pyramid, all the free electricity that they're just discovering now. Well, it's actually been discovered a while ago, but we're just being seen out. The public is being shown it now. It's like, well, there's so much that they knew, and it'd be crazy not to tap into that stuff, right?
So true, and so powerful at the same time. So what would you say, in what ways have your personal transformations influenced your approach of how you help others now?
Well, radically, because everything I work on my clients with, I work on myself with first. I'm my own guinea pig. But there was this one moment, I've been working as a practitioner, helping people with radical changes. I had one woman with had x-rays on her heart done, and it was showing that one of her artery was 80% blocked. And I gave her some sessions, and then she got x-rays and it was only down to 12%. And doctors were like stunned because, that under their view of things, if you've got plaque in your arteries, it's there for life. So they were like, how did you do that? So these are like one of many stories I've got. I've pulled people out of a coma and, all sorts of crazy things. And, so I've done really powerful things. But then on my journey, I had a really traumatic moment that just, it's because I'm still growing and learning and evolving and mastering myself too. And, and on that journey of mastering being a human being, I had my own, really extremely traumatic moment, which was my partner tried to kill me. And I was working with him on a really large scale event with some spiritual leaders. And the spiritual leaders, scapegoated me and pushed me out and followed the money. And this was so shocking to me on so many different levels. It really, opened my eyes up to, both the trauma of being someone trying to kill me that I was supposedly supposed to trust, and then also spiritual leaders behaving in a way that wasn't aligned and wasn't honoring everything I believe in and I live. And so that really shook me to my core. And so during that process of moving through all that trauma, I was doing all the things that I knew at the time, and I still felt really crap and I wasn't okay. And I'm like, well, I know all the things and it's not working. So there's something I'm missing. And so that made me dig deeper than I've ever been before. And that's where I discovered Love 2.0. It made me, like, I was looking at love, and what we're doing is we're seeking love from others. We're searching for love from others. But you know what? Nobody's got love right. The way we do love is completely wrong. So if I'm looking for love from someone else who has doubt or confusion, mixed in with how they receive and give love, then I'm not going to get the love that I deserve, want, need, all of those things from someone else. I'm just not. And it's not because they don't want to do it. It's just that they're just confused about it. So then it's pretty highly unlikely I'm going to get that love from someone else. Then there has to be another way to do it, right? And so that's when I discovered stop seeking love from other people and allow it from source. But there's a particular technique in how I go about it. But it's basically, the core is allowing, not receiving. Because if you think about the word receive compared to allow, it has a very different feel. I'm just allowing it. I'm allowing myself to have love straight from my core, straight from my soul. I'm allowing myself to love myself. And in doing that, I no longer need validation from other people. And it totally transforms my relationships with everybody.
It's so powerful. Man, that is so powerful. It's so true. I really love something you said there. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I love everything you said there. There's such a power, like you said, we haven't really been taught how to love and how to receive love, but most importantly, and I love how you talked about, when it comes to love, seeking validation from others, we're hoping that person is going to love me or make me feel this way. So then we find ourselves, like you said, they don't know how to love. I'm disappointed, but I love, really how you talked about getting love from source. That's such a powerful, and I love that word choice. Instead of, opening my, I guess, what did you say there? I want to make sure I said it how you said it.
Allowing love from source. Is that what you mean?
Instead of receiving. Yes, allowing
it.
Word. I love how you said, allowing. Yes, instead of receiving, allowing. That's such a powerful statement right there. Allowing yourself to be loved. Because when I ask myself that question, allowing myself to be loved, yes, so different. It's so crazy how work can really shift the mindset behind it. Because, how many of us are really allowing ourselves to be loved? Because many of us, I feel like we're taught to receive love. Love is told it's something, a way that somebody makes you feel. But, to allow it is so powerful.
Because if you think about it, if you think about receiving love, it feels like it has conditions around it, right? But whereas I allow it, it's free.
Yes. So you describe Love 2.0 as allowing infinite love of source to flow through you. How does this differ from that traditional concept of love, though? That you think?
Well, to me, the traditional concept is I'm looking for love from other people, right? I'm seeking validation. I'm seeking approval. Whereas I'm just recognizing that I can have this. It's just a completely different mindset. It's like I can be loved because actually, you know what? Why can't I? What? I don't care what horrible things I may have done in this life or a past life. It still doesn't mean I don't have a right to be fully loved. Of course I do. And in fully loving myself, it changes my behavior. So whatever I may have done in the past, in this life or another one, it's irrelevant because I every step that I take going forward, I am remembering who I really am, and all those behaviors that I may have done in the past wasn't me. This was just me being confused or having self-doubt. So that wasn't who I really am. But when I allow my love to come from deep within my core, I am being fully, freely me from soul first. And so that's my recognition of myself. So it's more of a recognition of yourself rather than am I okay? Am I allowed to have this? It's like, of course I am.
Yes, I love that, man. That is so powerful. Because I love something you said there. You said it's like, regardless of what my past, I'm worthy of love now, receive now, not something I have to is going correctly, or it's regardless of what past mistakes I had, that I'm worthy of love and I can just accept it. Being open to source. That's so awesome. So what practices do you recommend individuals that are seeking a deeper form of self-love?
Well, first of all, you've got to clear what's in the way that's stopping you from really allowing yourself to connect deeply to your soul, and which is source. So you've got to remove all of that stuff in the way. So you've got to remove the trauma and the detox all of that drama that's making you keeping you in loops, basically. And then you've got room to allow it to come in. At the moment, you're probably a little bit clogged up with all of this stress and trauma, that it's like, well, where can that slot in? I want some in there, but there's not much room. So you've got to kind of make room for it. And that's why I created the SoulFlow Mastery Embodiment program and course, which takes people either on a group course or a one-on-one private course with me, and it takes you through every aspect of life so you can master being a human. And so in doing that, we move through it. We do a drama detox. We move through, learn how to process emotions properly, tap into your intuition and unleash it in a way that, overcomes any self-doubt you might have around intuition. Just, abundance, purpose, integration. It covers every aspect so you can be a master, self-master. And so that's really the course. It's moving what's in the way and then just allowing it in. And I've got a meditation that I do, and I'm actually giving a little meditation away for free about self-love. That's on my website, which is bodyflowenergetics.org. And I can give you a link. I've got a page of freebies that I can offer all of your viewers, and one of those is the Love 2.0 meditation. So they can have that for free.
That's awesome. And exciting, willing to share those free that you have here. But I love something that's so powerful that you're saying here. You're saying mastering being a human. I think many of us, we find ourselves being born and thinking we know everything. But I love how you talked about it, just showing up and having the right techniques, to get you that next level.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't born with a guidebook in how to live life. And, it makes it, we're all just fumbling around as we go along. And, if we had a bit of a blueprint, a bit of a guide, here's the wisdom and how to do it. But what I also give along with that wisdom is meditations and tools and practices that are all cutting edge tools and practices that cut through all the fluff and just give you the simplicity of it. I'm about bite-sized changes. If it takes longer than 5 or 10 minutes, I'm not going to do it, right? So, I get rid of all the overcomplication that are involved in things, and I'm just like, this is what you need. And so what I give people is the information and all that wisdom, plus the tools to help them experientially understand it and get it. And so it's like, and I take them on a journey, a step-by-step process to take them. It's only 14 weeks. And so I take them on that journey. And so then they have these tools for life. And and you don't need anything else. So all of that, struggle that I went through in finding the way to do it and the right tools and the right way and how to really understand how everything works in the universe. And so I'm like, I want to make it easy for everyone so they don't have to go through what I went through. And I'm like, here, this is it. And it really works. And so yeah, I think there's not any one thing you can do. It's a journey, but it's not as difficult and complicated as you think, because all it takes is like 3 hours a week for 14 weeks, and you've got all the information you need. I think that's pretty doable.
Yes. I love that you're using your your battle tested techniques. You're that like, relentless cycle of trying to figure out what works. But I personally have used this and it works, so I know it works, and you know how to guide others through it. I've given a guidebook to life that we can have people like you who can have gone through that journey and can show us the way. I think that's so awesome.
Absolutely, because it's all about embodiment. You know, it's rather than just using these words. Like I could just say fancy words, but you know, at the end of the day, I'm not here to trend. I'm here to transform, and so it's really about embodiment, because embodied energy is where we really transform, and we live it. You know, we are being that person we've always wanted to be but didn't actually think was possible, because what it does is recalibrates your entire energy from a root level, and so you don't need years and years of shadow work, which is just painful and excruciating, right?
Yes, that's so perfect. Is you're really talking about blockages and how, you know, I think we go into this transformational state. We're trying to change our lives, really cleared up the blocks, you know, the doubts, the fears, the challenges we've had along the way, that we're holding all this trauma and trying to grow. But it's almost like, you know, choking out the opportunities of growth. Like, you know, there's no room for anything else. But I love how you talked about, you know, when you remove those baggage, those traumas, that you open yourself to an opportunity to grow. Because I think many of us, you know, we're holding onto that baggage and trying to grow, and we find ourselves in a cycle of just doing the same and wondering why things don't change.
Well, there's a kind of a trick to it. If you like, you know, because I've really deeply thought about what transformational really means, and what does it take. And I'm like, you know, because I've found myself on that cycle of peeling off layer and layer and layer, and it's like I don't want to be on an endless loop, you know, looking at horrible parts of myself and my life. So I've got better things to do, right? That doesn't sound fun. I didn't sign myself up for that. And so I'm like, well, what is it? So if I, you know, when I really looked at it, what I realized was like, okay, so there was an originating trauma that happened in some lifetime. Could have been this one, probably a past life. And so what happened is I had this trauma, and then I had similar traumas that all occurred till I got a mountain of stuff, right? And what we've been doing is we've been going at that mountain with a little pickaxe and wondering why we're not getting anywhere. And so I was like, okay, that can't be the answer. What's the way? And so what I realized was, it's like a house of cards. You know, you've got your little house. There's a bottom card. If you pull that bottom card away, the whole house collapses. And that's all you've got to do. You just got to find that bottom card. And, you know, that's how I do in my sessions and in my course. I teach people how to pinpoint with accuracy what that bottom originating card is and how to remove it, how to recalibrate that timeline. It might need adjustment, it might need collapsing, or it might just need a changing of the meaning. And so that's kind of the key, but it's not the only thing that's a problem. There's two other things that we look at. So it's looking at the stories that are creating these non-beneficial beliefs and programs that are controlling and running us, but it's also ancestral trauma, right? So if you look at like the history of the world, it was pretty gruesome.
Wow.
Right? There's some really horrific things that went down, hundreds, thousands of years ago. And that's not to say there isn't now, but there was pretty bad back then, right? And so that has just been passed down and passed down and passed down to, be landed on us today. And it's like, so how do I, remove and detach myself from all this ancestral stuff? And it's surprisingly easy to do if you just really think about it, and if you can understand energy and how it all works, how that energy keeps getting passed down. It's crazy easy. And then the third thing that we have is interference in our field, right? So this might be, this is where we get a little bit woo-woo-y. And this is things like psychic attacks and, curses and vows and spells and kind of things like that, because the words that we use, people are putting spells on people without even realizing it, because the words we use are powerful, like recognizing the difference between receiving and allowing. We can see, wow, there's a big difference. So sometimes we're saying things and we're spellbinding people, trapping them into, an energetic vortex that makes people spiral down. And it's like, whoa. So if you can understand that, we've all had a spiraling moment. Well, we're in an energetic vortex when that's going on. So it's like, oh, okay. So they're the three aspects of transformation that are used, that impact us. And so by knowing, okay, all I have to do is look at three things. How do I do those three things? So it's all about simplicity, breaking it down to what really is important and matters.
Man, that's so powerful. I'm glad that there's somebody, you've broken it down. I love that, something that to me, I feel like it's super complicated, that you have brought it down and made it simple and easy to digest. But what would you say how does energy influence our reality?
How does energy influence our reality? Well, energy is a frequency we're broadcasting 24/7. So your energy is either working for you or against you. And so you just need to make sure it works for you.
Wow.
And so
I didn't realize that, like you said, it's broadcasting. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
No, go.
Oh, so, I want to hear it. Yeah, I was just sorry.
So if we look at that, this is what we're broadcasting. So it's like, well, what does my conscious mind, what's that broadcasting? So this is our prefrontal cortex here, and this is our conscious mind. And it's going, I want, $6 billion, and I want a holiday, and I want, a loving, deeply connected relationships where we respect each other. And then here in the back of our head is our subconscious. So on a physical level, it's telling our heart to beat. It's, helping us digest food. And it's doing all those things that we, aren't consciously aware of. But it's also doing other things. It's subconsciously storing all of these non-beneficial programs that I'm not good enough, or I'm afraid of love, or whatever, right? And so it's got all of this stuff running, but we're not aware of it. And so it's impacting the decisions and choices that we make in our life, and it's affecting our physical health, because if this is where telling my body how to function, but it's got all these, blocks and distortions in the way it's functioning because of these beliefs that I have, then my body's not functioning properly either. It's my digestion is going, oh, am I supposed to do that? Or am I good enough to do that? I don't know if I can. And so they're impacting the way we function. So the messages aren't going from our brain to where they need to go. They're going on some kind of wild ride.
Wow, it's so powerful. It really made me think about, like you said, like some of the things I'm saying to myself and how it is affecting my decisions and how I act and how I treat people. So, what strategies do you suggest, in maintaining energetic alignment in those challenging times?
Well, I think I just be honest. I think honesty is key.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
radical honesty, like, having a look at the situation, not necessarily blaming the other person or myself, but like going, what is the truth about this situation? You know, what part of it is mine and what part of it is someone else's? What do I need to know and learn from this? Rather than playing things over and over in my mind or pushing them away, I just go, like, what do I need to know about this? And what do I need to learn about it? And that, and then I go, okay. And then just keep asking why. It's like just being that annoying kid that's just like, but why? But why? And keep going deeper until you really understand the core of something. And it's, not looking at things with judgment, but just simply observing. So an example would be, I remember once I was, someone had done something and I was really angry. And I was like, oh, okay, I feel angry about this. I'm going to, I know what to do. I'm not going to push it away or play it over. I'm just going to like sit with this anger and allow myself to really feel it. And so I sat with it. And the more I sat with it, the more I realized I was really fucking angry. I was fuming. I was like, whoa. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm really angry. And I just observed myself being really angry. And I'm like, okay, all right, I feel that. I'm not taking it out on anyone. I'm not blaming anyone.
Yeah.
I'm just witnessing this anger within me and how I could feel it in my body and how it was really affecting me. And then I was like, okay, well, what do I need to know and learn about this? And in asking myself that question, I realized I needed to take action because anger shows us that there's a boundary that we need to create, right? It's all about a boundary. So it's like, okay, well, what do I need to do here? What is the aligned action I need to take? And so I was like, okay, I need to do this thing. I need and it was the appropriate thing for that moment. And as soon as I had that thought, I need to do this, because when I had it, I was like 100% sure I'm going to do this. It was like I didn't need to prove to myself that I was going to do it. And in that second, it was like half a second of like, okay, I'm going to do this. My anger completely dissolved. I went from rage to completely calm in like half a second. And I was like, wow. So by simply observing and witnessing and taking aligned action that was appropriate, so it's aligned, I was able to move through it.
Wow, that is so powerful. You said, I love something you said there, is that anger was a sign that I needed to set a boundary. I think many times we find in anger, let anger make our decision. But I love how you talked about I know sometimes sitting with yourself when you're angry and upset, things just, get overwhelming. But I love how you said, having that, just sitting in that moment and being yourself that question of why. That's such a powerful statement there. But I love something you said there too, is, many of those times I'm looking to go honesty. That's such a powerful thing, because I mean, many times we're so worried about expressing ourselves based off, maybe how someone else will feel, or just, how they'll take it. But I love how you talk about having that radical honesty to really combat that. It's awesome.
When you think about it, it just makes sense, doesn't it? It's like, oh, if I could just get out of my own way and just like really see something for what it is, it's like all that you know, that energy that you put into like feeling bad. It's like you can just go, what really matters here?
Yes, so powerful, Kemina, man. You have so much knowledge, and I'm so glad of the work that you do. But I know if anybody listening to this, I know what they're thinking. They're probably like, Kemina, how can people stay connected with you?
Right. Well, a few different ways. You can check me out on Facebook. My Facebook is Kemina.Fulwood on Facebook. So I can send you the link so people can connect with me there. Or you can go to my website, bodyflowenergetics.org, and I have one-on-one sessions, or I have the SoulFlow course, which is either a group path or a one-on-one path, and you can choose either one. So that gives you all of the information, the tools, and group masterclasses, or you can choose the one-on-one mentoring path with me. So just check out all of those things. And then on top of it, I've got lots of freebies for people, like I was mentioning. So I can give you a link to how to access those freebies on my website. I've got a page, and you can choose all different ones. I've got a free organ and gland audit that I give you personally, and I can tell you exactly the vitality of I pinpoint the vitality of all your organs and glands and how they're affecting you emotionally. So what stories are going on. And so you can see where your weakest area is in your body, and you can go, all right, so that's, because there's so many things you can do. And it's like, well, how do I know what to do? So if I can see the weakest area in my body, then I know that's where I need to target. And so that's what that can help you with as well.
Awesome, you guys. I'm going to make it super simple for you. I'm going to put all of her links under this episode. So you're going to have all the ones so you can visit her on her, follow her on all of her socials. Make sure you DM her. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. And don't realize, I really love what Kemina is doing here, is because maybe you find yourself on that same road that she had to take of trying to figure things out. But it's an awesome opportunity to not only go through those challenges with somebody who's been through it, but knows how to get you through it, but have that battle-tested technique of what really works. You can remove the guesswork and have somebody to guide you along the process. I think, like she said, instead of peeling that one layer off at a time, it's time to get to the root of your challenges and really get the change you're seeking. So having her Kemina in your corner is going to be, I'm excited for you for taking, having this opportunity to have somebody to guide you through the process. But like I said, I'm going to put all of her links under this episode so you can follow her on social, visit her website. I'm going to have all of her freebies under there as well. But Kemina, if you had to leave somebody with a message, what would you want to leave the listeners with a message?
Oh, well, let me see. Mastery isn't about doing more. It's about being you, fully, freely, and soulfully first.
Ooh, that is powerful, you guys. Man, like you said right there, couldn't have said it any better. So like I said, you guys, all of her links will be under this episode. Do not let this be the last time you heard from Kemina. Like I said, follow her on all her socials. Shoot her those DMs. Thank her for being here and for sharing her knowledge. I'm super thankful for you guys. All right, friends. Y'all take care.